Yo,
Hey, hey, hey.
what's going on, man?
What's up, boss?
Thanks for joining me. Let me get my
Of course.
screen all set up here. How's your day going?
Busy as a one-arm paper hanger, my friend.
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Yeah, I stole that from my buddy Roger. He did mortgage brokering for like 30 years um, down in Miami. He did a lot of this was like way back in the day. He did a lot of like, how do I put it? Socioeconomic people that didn't that like it was a little bit more difficult to get into Miami. And he made sure he's from an old dude from Jersey. He said, "Man, I don't care. You're getting in there. If you got the money, you qualify. We're getting you a house." And
Okay,
he says he's half. He's a Jersey guy, so he said I'm responsible for so many people that have houses that would never be able to have houses down in Miami. I'm like, all right, cool,
sure.
good for you.
That
How
should
you doing
never have
today?
houses. Good, man. Super busy
Heck yeah,
all the
good.
time, which is
Love
good.
that. Yeah,
Great.
no, hey, it never ends, man. This is my life now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what else? What else am I going to be doing?
Right, sitting around on the couch. Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes that's one of my
I,
favorite activities, actually.
I, I do like sitting on the couch though. Get me wrong.
I I say that to people all the time. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." And that's one of the most underrated activities on the planet is nothing.
Uh, fair enough. No, I get that too. You got to
Like
recharge
sometimes
every once in a while.
sometimes you're just like, nothing sounds phenomenal, and that's what's great about football. I don't know how you like football, but I'm pretty obsessed. And when it comes around, it makes Sundays like that day. It's like, all right, after 1 o'clock, I don't really care. I
Uh,
just I am not to be bothered.
oh heck yeah.
I gave my wife my letter of husband resignation for football season. I'm like, here you go. It's in writing, so I look
That's
forward to
true.
building our relationship after season ends.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome.
All
Oh
right,
heck
so
yeah.
you
Are
you
you
ready to
in the
rock and roll?
Yeah, sure. Sure, I'm in for
What
sure.
were
Let's
you
go.
what were you gonna
Oh,
say?
are you doing the fantasy football
Oh
thing?
yeah, big
Oh
time.
yeah. I've thought about it for years, man. I don't The only time I paid attention to football was when the Bucks were in the Super Bowl back back when Allstott
Oh,
was the
okay.
tight end. This is like many,
Yeah,
many
yeah.
years ago.
What,
I do pay
2003
attention to
or something?
baseball quite a bit. Like the Rays. I'm a big Yankees guy too.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I like
but
the
that's a
Rays.
sport I can really get into for sure.
Really? See,
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I went away from it, but now that I'm back in, now that they've changed the rules and games are like 2 hours and not 4.5, 5 hours.
Right.
Now
Yeah, big
I'm like
difference.
back in. I'm like, that's so much better. It's so much because otherwise, it's like it's a game every single day, and there's no way you can watch the whole thing. I don't watch them all anyway. It's impossible. But it's like,
Right.
unless you're retired, like my grandparents never missed a Cardinal game, like never.
Oh wow, holy cow.
Like they were like every like in the chair, you know,
Oh
had to
cool.
watch the Cardinal game.
Yeah, I love
Not
that.
cool. It was awful. Like being like 9 years old and you're like, we watch
Well,
something
not
else.
cool for you,
Hell
cool for
no.
them. Right.
Yeah.
They were hella excited, I'm sure.
They're like, hell no.
That's
All right,
cool.
man. So ready to rock on this? I'm gonna
Yeah,
just
heck
kind of
yeah.
I'm gonna do a quick like intro thing, and then start you off with like I got some questions here generally, but we're just gonna have a conversation. We'll probably go off of the first question and just lose track and get off the rails for a while, and I love that. So feel free to talk about whatever. Like it doesn't have to stick to anything. You know what I mean?
Cool. I love it. Yeah, I could talk. I'll talk to anyone who will listen, so we're good.
All right. Yeah, well, I'm aware. That's why I asked you. Come on. I was like, that's perfect. I don't have to.
Love that. Heck yeah, dude.
All right. Perfect. So we'll rock. All right. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Build With Aaron podcast. Super excited about today. We've got a special guest today, Justin Bellante. He is phenomenal, great friend of mine. We were involved with Sertoma together. It's kind of how I met him. It's a charity here in Sarasota. He does a lot. I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to let him tell you about it. Justin, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, hey, man, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about having
Yeah,
a conversation with you.
yeah, man, super excited about it. So, I mean, can you just tell us a bit about your background, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur, about yourself, anything that's interesting? Well, heck, here we
Yeah.
are.
All right. Heck yeah. I guess where do I start? Really? Geez. So I come from a low income household, part of the underserved population, where college was never really in the picture. I would have been the only Bellante to go to school right out of high school. That was my plan, either join the military or go into, school. I used to weigh 350 pounds, and
Well, okay.
I was in JROTC. I tried to get into the Navy. I lost 150 pounds to do so originally. Um, Met all the qualifications, passed the ASVAB, which is like the
When you lost the
SAT.
weight, what did that put you at?
I was about 190 roughly.
Okay, that's solid.
Yeah, give or take a few pounds. Yeah, man. 6'3" too. So, I'm gonna be in that upper echelon no matter what. But
Yeah, that's exactly where I am actually.
oh, there you go. Did all the duck walking and all the stuff that they make you do to get in. And they were like, "Are you allergic to shrimp?" I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oof, well, can't get in." So that was
Wow,
my
really?
plan: get the grant, go to school, the GI Bill as they call it, and then didn't happen. And when I came to my mom, I'm like, "Hey, mom, these college applications, we got to put some in." She's like, "They cost money." I'm like, yeah. So
Yeah,
didn't really look like that was going to be the route I take. I did sign up for SCF, started doing some stuff there. Inevitably, I had to get to work. Got to work, started at a call center, worked there
okay.
for about 2.5 years, became one of the supervisors there. And my girlfriend at the time, my now
What was the
wife,
call center for?
we did inbound calling for a couple different companies. I worked for Garden City Group. We did a lot of class action lawsuits. So it was people just calling in, trying to get their checks, just verify who they are. Just real simple, easy stuff. I think
Yeah,
I was making $10 an hour. A couple dollars commission here and there. Um,
very cool.
Always had that entrepreneurial spirit though, mowing lawns with my buddies so we could buy the newest video game on the weekend,
There you
stuff
go.
like that.
Yeah.
I got busted at middle school for I was selling energy drinks out of my backpack. I would uh I would go to
What, like
Save a
Red
Lot.
Bull?
Yeah, heck yeah. I'd go to Save a Lot and pick up, 24 pack of energy drinks for like $5, and then I'd sell them for $2 a piece. And then I'd go back to the Save a Lot and buy two cases and just was, had a whole
Just re
system
up and
going.
re up. Yeah.
And then they were like, "Justin, let me get your book bag." They're like, "There's no school, there's no books in here." I'm like, they're like, "It's full of energy drinks. What are you
And
doing?"
what grade was this?
I think it was like sixth or seventh.
Okay, so
Um,
middle school. Jeez.
Probably when kids should
Love
not be
that. I
drinking
love
energy
that.
drinks, you know?
Yeah, back when it was like energy drinks was like 400 milligrams of caffeine and like 50 grams of sugar, and
No, I might be drinking one right now. Um,
he's got the monster on deck.
Nothing on there is like in English, you're just like, I don't know what's in here, but I'm wired and I'm only
Yeah,
12 years old. No, so they were like, Justin, you can't be giving energy drinks to kids, that's not a good idea.
yeah,
So
man. It's like
they
the
cut
surge
that out.
days.
Yeah. So fast forward to working here at the call center, was killing it, for what I thought. My wife ended up leaving there, and she went off to do something that she was just passionate about. So she went into grooming and taking care of dogs. She
Okay, very
animals a
cool.
big passion of hers, and it just kind of got me thinking. Like, is this what I want to do forever? I could work my way up the ladder, and be here for 20 years, and one day be the director, and I'll drive a nice new Honda Civic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Hey,
just
man,
felt
those
like I
things
wanted
go
more.
forever.
No, they do for sure. No, I've had a several. Love those vehicles. Um, did pretty well, but then ultimately just felt like there was got to be something else out there. And believe it or not, it was a Craigslist ad
Okay.
um, for a recruiter. And typically, I looked at the field. Typically, they require a degree, which I didn't have. I applied. They wanted to interview me. I did what they call a working interview, where they give you like a list, a script, and they say go to
Yep.
town. The objective for that day was to book meetings for our CEO to meet with CEOs of local hospital systems. And then one day I booked like 3 appointments, and she was like, "If you want it, I'll teach you how to recruit." Um, and from there on out, it's really been, just I get to write my own paycheck, ultimately.
Yeah.
Did that for a long time, killing it, became a trainer, moved from company to company. Every time I've transitioned, learned a new skill set that I could, apply to my career. And then ultimately, Pete, Gary, and I got real close at my last company. And Gary and I had talked about one day breaking off and starting our own thing, living the American dream, if you
Yeah.
will. We were young, what I call them young bucks. We were just, full of vinegar, as they say. You're just
Uh-huh.
really excited and hyped up. We were like, if it ever gets bad, if it ever gets bad, if it ever gets bad, we're doing that for a couple meetings. And ultimately, Pete was like, hey, man, you guys ever thought about leaving and starting your own thing? And we were like, actually, yes.
Yeah.
And Pete kind of pushed us over the ledge. And April 2022, we put in our notice, had a 6-month non-compete agreement,
Okay.
started Titan Placement Group October 18th, 2022. And the joke is I had 2 babies. I had Titan Placement Group, and then I had my son, Julian, within 30 days of each other.
Wow.
And
Okay. So tell me what was that like in terms of just like what I really liked you said earlier was, that your wife pursued the passion and
mm,
decided she was going to follow it. Because I talk about that a lot.
mm,
And when you're passionate about what you're doing, the ceiling is just so much higher because your energy levels are just so much higher. You're
mm.
positive. It's so much easier to be positive, and you're just going to soar. And so, obviously, recruiting was something that you found a passion for, and that's what drove you to keep doing it. I'm assuming.
Yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Growing up, single mom, um, you know, not a lot of interaction with other kids. I played team sports. I played a lot of
Mhm.
individual sports too, but I think the ability to, uh, I say I get to make friends for a living, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
and I think that's my passion, right? And now it's turned into like helping those people accomplish their own goals, and find that whatever that American dream is for them, and
sure,
because it's the path that I've taken, and it's opened so many doors for me and continues to do so. So if I can help someone else do it too, like, that fires me up and fills my cup, if you will.
sure. So you and 3 other guys decided we're going to go and we're going to start our own recruiting, the Titan Placement Group, right? And you had to wait 6 months after you quit to start. Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
I mean,
And
I mean, I didn't have to, but I was
right,
contractually obligated to, and
right.
I could have fought it, and if I needed to, but uh, it actually really came at the perfect time, for 2 reasons. Number one, my wife was pregnant. Um, as you know, I remember, if I remember quickly, you just had another
I just
baby
had our
too.
second one. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Um, putting a nursery together, all that stuff. Could not imagine having to do that and, work a 9 to 5 at the same
Yeah.
time. So I had the luxury. I got to convert my garage into my new office, move my office into the garage, and turn the what was our office into our nursery.
I'm all about
So that
that.
was really cool. That's the first reason that it was really nice. And then the second thing was like it gave us time to really think about the kind of company we want to be, rather than just unplugging and then plugging in somewhere else. We got to really think about, how can we do this different? How can we do it better? How can we, improve processes, policies, procedures, employee morale, culture, all of it. And it was pretty nice just to live like a retiree here in Sarasota, I will say.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, I took up
Absolutely.
fishing. Took up fishing, got about as tan as leather, and
Hmm.
it was a nice experience. I'll probably never get to do again, but it was awesome.
Awesome. So when you guys branched out and you started your own thing, it was 4 of you, right?
It was myself, Pete, and Gary, so 3 of us
Okay, so
total.
3 of you.
Yeah.
And when you decided to branch off, right, you obviously had kind of a vision, I assume, of what you wanted it to look like. And how has over time, how has that idea developed? How has it evolved? over the course of the last couple of years into what it is now?
Wow. Yeah. So it's definitely evolved for sure. Um, just like anybody, we're sitting around at the old company looking at the boss man, who's just got his feet kicked up, and we're like, man, this guy never does anything. He's, just
Yeah,
hanging
typical
around the
workplace.
office. He comes in when he wants to, he leaves when he wants to. Little did we know that that guy worked, man. He was a worker bee. He did a lot of work outside of the office, and all the little things that you think don't play a big factor that really do. You
Sure.
know, we thought that it would just be doing our job under our own name and making 2 times more money, and then eventually being able to add people underneath us. It's definitely evolved since then, though. Now it's become, we understand that we've got to lean on our team. There's a lot more outside of the typical work day that needs to get done. So we've had
Yeah.
to adapt and overcome some of those challenges for sure. And really just kind of like stepping
Well,
back to
what
step
are a couple of
forward.
those challenges? What were a
Yeah.
couple of those challenges? Give me an example.
Well, the main thing we're dealing with right now is training, right? Um, I'm a real process, analytical guy. So I want to just hammer out a training manual that we can just give out to everybody when they first start, and just kind of have like a one size fits all type solution.
Mm-hmm.
I've quickly realized that that does not work, right? I find
Right.
that it's easier to play on each other's skill sets, right? And if I can, some guy's doing door-to-door sales, and he comes in here and wants to get to work, the first thing I'm going to teach him is not going to be recruiting. All right, it's going to be sales for what we do. It's going to be selling our
Absolutely.
services, and having to change our methodology several times, and then taking half of my day now to train rather than doing my job. At first it was like, I'll just, sit at my desk, train them when I can, make as many placements as I possibly can. Everyone will be happy. What I realize is that if I step back, my production goes down a little bit. But if I can train like 2 or 3 people to do just a little bit better,
Mm-hmm.
cumulatively, it's a lot more than I could do at my desk by myself.
Right.
That's one thing I've really had to learn is like, you sometimes you have to take a step back to take 2 steps forward.
100%, man. And also, too, that delegation of time, it gives you your time back to be more effective in other things that you need to do. Because the better you train those people to do their job, right? And you touched on already, it's all sales. That's all it is. You got it, right? The better you train them to sell, the better, the more productive they're going to be, the more it's going to add to the business, the more you can focus on building the business and getting more people like them and fine tuning those systems. So that way it's more of a liquid system where, okay, this is the overview of what needs to happen and it's adaptable to each individual, right? And that's kind of where you need to get to and what you need to build to. I love
100%.
that. Love that.
Absolutely. Yes. Heck yeah.
Absolutely love that. So how many people do you have now? Have you built to?
Well, it's Tuesday. Uh, if everything goes according to plan, we should have 12.
That's awesome.
Um,
That is
yeah,
incredible.
it's
Congratulations.
thank you, man. It's been a wild ride. I'm just trying to trust the process as much as I can right now. That's for sure.
Sure. Sure. So you mentioned that challenge. What is there a particularly momentous, we'll say, challenge that really helped you guys turn the corner where it was kind of, did you ever have that moment? 'Cause I know I've experienced that in several different businesses that I've started where it's like there's that make or break moment
Mm.
and you kind of just have to go all in with it or fold it up and walk away. Have you guys had that kind of moment and you just said screw it, we're going all in?
Yeah, there was so we first started it had taken 6 months off, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I can't go into too much of it, but
No, no,
there was a
yeah,
scenario that was going on when we first started. It allowed us to, backs against the wall, kind of, go at it.
best place to be.
It's either eat or you don't eat, and that was really kind of the initial drive to get there. And then there was a new development somewhere maybe around 3 months in, and it turned from, backs against the wall to burn the ships. mentality.
Yep.
One of my favorite, old school methodologies. Alexander the Great, when he traveled to Persia, they burned all the ships. The guys were like, "How are we going to get back?" He said, "We're getting
Yep.
back on Persian ships." That's kind of our mentality. It's like, it's
Has to be.
this is the way. There is no going back. There's no turning back. There's no going back. This is, you got to make it happen. And I think when we made that conscious decision, kind of like a Rocky moment, that
Mm-hmm.
we're getting up. It's not, we're getting hit and we'll get hit again, but we'll get up every single time and we're not going anywhere. And that mentality, I mean, that shift right there. I mean, we went from, maybe a signed agreement a week to every single person getting a signed agreement or two a week. And our business development game just blew through the roof. That's why we're able to bring in as many people as we are.
Just putting in the work.
Yeah, we figured we wouldn't bring anybody on for like a year. Lo and behold, when your back's against the wall and you're burning those ships, man, like magic happens.
That's it, man. And I
Mm-hmm.
think you're particularly at an advantage. And I feel like this is a lot of people that are successful entrepreneurs, where you came from essentially nothing, right? And you have people that don't necessarily have that. A lot of people have a safety net or a parachute, right? Whereas I think when you come from nothing or you start everything on your own and you lace up your bootstraps, pick yourself up and go to work, it you're not afraid. You can make that option to burn the ships, put your back against the wall and go for it, because what are you going to lose? Right? Well, where am I going to, what am I going to be back there? Fine, I'll do it. Then I'll figure it out and I'll do it again some other way. Right. And I think that's a huge advantage. Is that something that you've noticed in your journey where it's like, I've got nothing? What's the worst that's going to happen? Well, I'm going to have to downgrade my house. Oh, I might have to downgrade my car. Who gives a shit? I'm doing what I love. And if it doesn't work this way, I'll find another way.
No, that's so true. I think knowing how bad it possibly can get, and realizing it's really not that bad, like
Mm-hmm.
some of the best times I've ever had in my life are when my wife and I had, $100 to our name, we were
Mm-hmm.
as joyous as hell, and my quality
Love
of
that.
life is definitely improved. But I feel like just knowing, like, that I could, lay it down on the table and what's the worst that could happen. My grandpa, actually, bigwig CFO for a long time in Tampa.
Okay.
I've called him, thinking about making this jump. And he said to me something I tell my team all the time. He said, "Justin," he said, "what's the worst that can happen? You go get another job." And
Exactly.
I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so, right?" Like, I burn through a couple dollars and I just go work for somebody else.
Exactly. Do it again, man. I just did a video about that the other day. You got to do it for the love of the game,
Mm,
right? You got to take the shots, and you're gonna miss some shots. Everybody misses shots, right? If you got to think about it in the macro though, right? And then stop me at any point if you disagree. But if you're thinking about, so say in like tennis, okay, I come from tennis background.
yeah, yeah,
You got
yeah.
to win. You got to win the 4 points to win the game, okay? If you're worried about, okay, I missed one forehand out of the last four. Okay. Well, you made 75%.
Mm,
And in the micro, okay, I missed one of four. But in the macro, if you're able to sustain that over the course of an entire match where you're making 75% of the forehands you're going for, that's pretty awesome. You're going to dominate,
mm.
right? Or if you're making 75% of your first serves in, you're going to dominate. But if you boil it down, you go, oh, I'm only making 3 out of 4, then it's like that seems worse. So I think thinking about things in the macro sometimes is better in terms of what you're talking about. Where, okay, worst case, I'm going to get a job, everything sucks, but you can't. It's good balance, I think, going between day to day and looking at the long term picture. You got to kind of balance it out.
That's true. Yeah, no, I believe that 100% to be true. I always use analogies in my team, and I just used one the other day about, like, you ever seen a Super Bowl game and they're down by 4 touchdowns? You think they go on the field and play like they're not at the Super Bowl? Hell no. They give
Right,
it all. They got to
exactly.
leave it all on the table, man. They know that, like, magic can happen. Like, even if you're down, three touchdowns or whatever. Like, I've seen some games where, man, they can bring it back. you
Oh, the
know, and
Atlanta Patriots game, man. With Tom Brady bringing it
mm,
back. What was it?
yeah.
27-3 at halftime or
Oh
whatever it
yeah,
was.
man.
Give
Oh
me a
yeah, it's
freaking break.
serious. No kidding. Um, and you just gotta like, think long term, give it your all every single day. I think consistency plays a factor in there for sure. Absolutely.
Yep. Okay. Consistency. So, on the note of consistency, staying consistent is obviously key. Showing up every day, doing the job. Now, in your business, there's a lot of recruiters out there. Okay. How do you guys approach competition in your industry, and like what sets your business apart from the other ones? Like, how do you guys innovate the field, or are you trying to innovate, or are you just going with status quo?
So definitely not going with status quo. Um, there
Interesting.
there there are a lot of tried and true things in the industry that are almost like laws, that you need to follow in order to be successful. However, I think one of the biggest things is it's not only is what we do, we're very specialized niche, and we do primarily community-based nonprofits, dentistry, hospitals, home health and hospice, and mental health. That's kind of like
Okay.
our bread and butter. But that's really all we've been doing, Pete, Gary, and I, for like 5, 6 years. So not only
Okay.
is it our niche, we also are. So if you were to get into the recruiting game today, it's all technology based, but all,
Sure.
all of us have a foundational core set of headhunting skills, which is literally I can contact local competition and get in there and have conversations with the professionals who are doing the job now, which is a skill set that's like far and few between. I say that, I started with Google and a phone, and that was it. I didn't have any of
Okay.
the tools when I first started. They were like, just call into the hospital, figure out how you're going to get the CEO on the phone. And when you do, let me know if they want to talk to me. I was able to use that skill set in conjunction with the
Interesting.
technology, in conjunction with our niche. And to top it all off, we actually care. Um, I think the passion and love
The
for
big
what we
one.
do is definitely what sets us apart. We're not just another recruiting firm looking for another order from another client. We're looking for a client in a specific area that's trying to help a community and finding a provider to get there and make a difference. Um, and that all of those combined, that's like an immense value. And
Yeah.
I still haven't found another recruiter who's got the skill set that I do, the passion and love for what I do in the niche that I'm in. I mean, those three things alone just set me apart from everybody else. And that's
Absolutely.
that's the gist of it, right? Is you got to sell yourself first. You got to sell your skill set, and if you care about what you do, like you absolutely should lean on that for sure.
Right. So you prioritize the skill of selling yourself, and you say that is what sets you apart the most,
Yeah, I
because that's
think
a
it's
skill
really
too.
the all three, but I think that, leaning on yourself and having some self-worth and,
Hmm.
self-confidence, I say, you got to honor your own commitments. Every time you do it builds the self-confidence. And when you get on the phone and you've got that kind of conviction, it, you could not even know what you're saying as long as you believe it to be true. Like that right there will set you free for sure.
That's it, man.
Mm,
And it's all mindset, right? You got to just be positive. Look at the positives. No, take the negatives as learning experiences. Move on.
mm,
And I'm the kind of a guy, I don't like to over celebrate the wins. I look at the wins as like that's what I'm supposed to be doing,
mm.
right? I won because I did what I'm supposed to do, and I'm gonna learn. I'm not gonna learn as much as, okay, well, why didn't I get this? Why did I take this L over here?
Mm.
Okay, and I need to figure that out and correct it so I don't take an L in the same way. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, and maybe it's for you too. I don't know, but taking an L in the same way twice, I just don't want to ever let that happen. Like
Yeah.
if I screw something up over here, I am like, okay, noted. I am never going to screw up that way. I'm going to screw up 1,000 other ways and figure it out, but that way is check it off. Done. Never happening again.
Oh, I get
Right.
that. Yeah, absolutely. We do we call it a deal autopsy.
Okay.
So,
I like that.
um,
Tell me about that.
whether it's a positive deal, somebody took a deal, someone took the job or not, we
Mm-hmm.
sit down, we figure out like what did you do to make it happen, and if it didn't work, what did you do to make it not happen? We have a checklist of things, and it's like, did you do every single thing that you were supposed to make it work? If you did, great. no big deal, but 99% of the time, there's always one thing. You're like, you know what, actually, I forgot to prepare the candidate for the phone interview. And I'm like, well, maybe that's why they said I need $125,000 when the salary only goes up to 110. And, they weren't willing to make that compromise. And it's like, there's just like, that's those pivotal moments. And you're like, all right, so next time we're all sitting around the table. We're like, all right, so next time prep a candidate because you're talking, your mortgage payment for the month, and if that's all it takes is a 20-minute call, like next time that happens, you're going to make that call and you're not going to make that mistake again for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say when all the steps are taken? Because in what I do, a lot of times it doesn't matter what you say, like their mind's made up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like this house. And you can sell it a million different ways, and they've got their mind made up that it's not the place, right? As soon as they walk in the door, no matter how many good features it may have. And that's something that's real struggle, is remembering tastes, that people's taste. Because I have to catch myself like, oh, I'm not going to show them that place, but then I'm like, well, maybe they like that place even though I can't stand it, right? But what's your conversion rate? Is there, when you've done everything you can do, what's your conversion rate? Because sometimes I feel like people just have their mind made up. Do you encounter that a lot, or what's the story there?
So typically when I would encounter stuff like that, it's more on like the business development side. We really try not to sell candidates into jobs because it's similar. Like they know what they're looking for, like I don't need to sell them a condo, when they want a 3-2 and they've got kids, like it ain't happening. You can try, you can try and squeeze a round peg in a square hole.
But
Every once in a while you will, but I think ultimately if you spend energy on doing that, like, there's so much better ways to spend that energy that, in the time frame you've tried to sell this square peg into a round hole, you could have, showed a few homes, 3-2s with a backyard because they have dogs and a kid. Like that's what they're looking for. So we really try and make matches on the candidate side. On the client side, sometimes they like working with the big boys, and we're not, we're not Walmart of recruiting, and I prefer it that way. Yeah, no, I will right now. I prefer it that way. We'll see it all the way through. I want to be like the Gucci of recruiting, right? You don't go to Gucci and say, "Hey, can I get a discount on the bag?" They're like, "No, sir, this is a $3,000 bag. It is what it is." And you're like, so that's kind of the value we want to bring, but sometimes when they're looking for a bigger firm, sometimes you can wiggle your way around that by providing enough value to kind of outshine maybe the size of your firm, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Heck yeah. Those are really the things I do for sure.
Yeah. And so I think we're in the same boat here of, I'm not like, I want to figure out as quickly as possible if it's a no. And as soon as it's a no, out. Like, I'm not going to sit here and try to spend 20 minutes turning a no into a yes, because in that 20 minutes I could have talked to 10 other people. And I just want to weed out the no's as quickly as possible, because there's a yes out there, right? And you hear it a lot. The call centers thing, like you hear it a lot, and it's just like, I mean, how many calls did you make in a call center a day? 800,
120, 200.
Yeah,
we didn't have the whole auto dialer. We were actually manually punching those in.
So 200 is a shit ton. Now, so you if it's a no, it's like, I'm not going to sit here on the phone with this person for 20 minutes and try to turn them into a yes. It's a no. Boom. And I hate when people call it like a rollover. Oh, you got a rollover when they're immediate yes. It's like, no, that was the one. Now for every 100 no's, I'm going to find that rollover, or the person that's already halfway there that just needs to have a conversation with me for a little bit, or just needs to hear my voice in their head for a second. And then they're a yes, right? They just need that little bit of convincing, right? Now, I'm the same way. Like, if it's a no, I'm like, out the door. I'm not going to bother with it. Next. Oh, here's one. Oh, that's a no. Next. I'm not going to spend that time, right? Because you can be so much more effective. So I think we're in the same boat there.
Oh yeah, man. I say, my God, if you knew, if you knew it for a fact it took 100 calls to get to a yes, how long would you take to make those calls? You would do everything you could within your power to get through those as fast as you possibly can. And then what is it that switches us to be like, well, there's, so you're telling me there's a chance,
Yeah,
we don't
absolutely.
spend time on stuff like that for sure.
Good. I mean, and obviously, I mean, you guys are so, and that's something you train too, right? When you bring your guys, these new guys
Oh,
in, you're like,
absolutely. Yeah, don't
yeah,
sell people in the jobs. And plus, it's the human element, right? That's something we both deal with. I know for
yeah,
sure.
oh yeah,
You know, humans can be unpredictable, right? You try and take the best educated guess you can, but ultimately, like there's very little that we do have influence over. But you want to make sure that you influence every single chance that you have the opportunity to do so. Absolutely.
right,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And I hate that when you have like a good, like I had one guy talk to me for 30 minutes. We're talking, we have this great conversation talking about his kids and this and that. No, we got the houses. Yeah, I got, okay, we're going to send you these type. We got exactly what you want. We're going to get you happy. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Ghost.
Mm.
Ghost. Never hear from him again. Can't get him on the phone. Doesn't answer texts. Like, it's just like, you're just like, oh my God, those are the worst.
How
Then
has
there
that
was,
become okay?
I know, the
What
ghost
the
thing.
heck?
Text messages. It's so easy to just ignore it and then caller ID. It's just so easy
I'd much
to,
rather, how much energy it was required to just look at your phone every time it rings and not answer. For the one time, like, hey, Aaron, I'm not buying from you, man. That's it.
yeah,
I'd rather you just say, hey, this job's not for me or whatever. Like, I feel it. So on Indeed, how it works is you send a message to someone on Indeed and they have to
okay,
read the job description, reply, and then say, yes, I'm interested. Once they say that, you get their contact information, right? You know how many times I've called these people, like 9 times, that they call, text, email. I send them a message on LinkedIn. They don't
yeah,
respond. And I'm like, listen, like you read my email. You read the job description. You said, yes, this is interesting. I'm interested. I want to talk to you. And then they disappear off the face of the
yeah.
earth.
You raise your hand. You got called on. Yes, question. No, no question. I just wanted to raise my hand.
What? Right? It's the most wild thing. Oh yeah, man, it happens, and
It's
I don't know how
crazy.
to explain it. I don't know what I don't know what it is. I've been trying to pinpoint it for a while. It's like, when did that become socially acceptable?
Yeah,
That you can just, block someone on social media, their text messages, phones, whatever, because you don't want to go running on a Sunday.
yeah.
Like,
Or someone, or after 7, you said 9 weeks, after 5, 6 weeks, they finally answer like, I'm not interested. It's like, why did it take, did you just finally get so fed up of seeing my messages that you finally just had to say yes? Why not just do that week one? Like, you just think,
uh,
like, I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't understand it. And it's,
well,
or they get pissed off. They're like, quit calling and texting me. Well, if you just said no,
so true. Yeah, if you would have just said, "Hey, I'm not interested," I wouldn't have called you the 8 other times, bro. If you would just say
right.
on the second call, like, "Hey, man, I took a job somewhere else," you're not going to get badgered by me anymore. It's okay. No skin off the game, man. I'm not going to get my feelings hurt. Like, it's okay.
Exactly.
Oh, it's
And
wild.
I want to digress back to, you mentioned LinkedIn.
Uh,
Now, is that so you got, what role does social media play in your field? Because I know for mine, like the whole industry is really transfer. And this, I'm a firm believer that in every industry you need to be as present online across all platforms as you possibly can be. Is that true for recruiting also? Do you feel that way? Or is it just like Indeed? Indeed is 100%, and I've been preaching this. Indeed is not far, I mean, the next few years from turning into Facebook. Like, it is not
mm,
what it was like when it first came out, like when I was in college, and that, where it was just like, oh, I'm posting my resume on here and I'm just going to try to get a job through
mm,
LinkedIn. Now it's like people got their kids on there, they're posting videos, their sports. It's just like what they're doing. So it's really like, it reminds me of what Facebook was 10 years ago. And I think that is going to be, I think it's the next platform to really like explode and start to monetize. But right now it's still kind of wild west.
yeah.
So is that the big one for you, LinkedIn, or what platforms do you like?
LinkedIn is huge. I mean, so the way I explain it to my team is, people that are really trying to do something with themselves, in their career, or professionally. those folks are on LinkedIn, right? And if we're looking for the
Oh yeah.
top talent, like there they are. I think, how has social media impacted, my business? 2 years ago, I read Gary Vaynerchuk, uh,
Yeah. Familiar.
Crushing It.
Great book.
And I had the idea, I created a new Instagram, Headhunter Justin, but I was employee, wasn't super motivated to do it for somebody else, basically, right?
Hmm.
When we started Titan, man, I just felt like a new, wave of energy to push towards social media content creation. And boy, boy, has it been a game changer. I
Really
think a
good.
couple of reasons. I think number one, it gets your name out there. Brand recognition is very important. Building that brand equity, if you will. I think very,
More
very
important than
important.
anything, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Right now, I think it's important. I think what people Google you after that you call them on a sales call, you want the message that you're saying to be the message that people see. And I think that's been huge because it's not a pitch. I live it.
Right.
I live it. Yesterday, I was at a hearing aid project event, a
Hmm.
community-based nonprofit. Like I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. Like you can Google it. You can see me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Like the message I'm saying is the same everywhere. And I think that builds a ton of credibility. It
100%.
differentiates you from everybody else and really like puts you as an expert in the field. Um, and I think like if you're not doing it, like somebody else is, and if
Right.
if they're considering using you as a realtor or Susie Q down the street, you know if they're going to put their time and energy into you these days, people are going to dig into you a little bit, right? They're going to look
100%.
Google you. They're going to say, what are the positive and negative things people have said about this person? And if people are saying positive things about you, you're putting out a positive message. The same message you're telling them is the same message they can see on any platform anywhere. Like that's a game changer, and I think if you're not doing it, I'm okay with that because that just leaves
Exactly.
more opportunity for me to do it. I don't see any healthcare recruiters out there putting out the kind
Sure.
of content that I am. I'm working on professionalizing it. It's not a right word, but trying to make it a little bit more apropos to my
Hmm.
niche. But I mean, the authenticity too, I think, goes a long way on
I
social
think
media.
I think that's more important than anything, man. Like especially nowadays, like people don't want to be sold to. They don't want an advertisement in their face all the time. Like
Mm-hmm.
as soon as you if you're on your Instagram feed or your TikTok feed or something and something comes up and it looks super pro and it looks super edited and it's all ad next. What are they?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to see it because next. But if then you look at the one, it's just somebody like on their phone and the phone's moving and they're walking or they're doing something right. You're like, okay, this is what's gonna happen here. Like it's raw. I feel like people want to see that rawness. They want that real life
Mm.
experience, right? Especially because
Yeah.
look, you want to be in people's face. You want to be in their face and you want to be in their eyes. And when you walk down the street, where's everybody's eyes? On their phone, right? On their app, on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat, right? Those are the YouTube. Those are the
X.
big ones.
Right.
Exactly. X.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, not Twitter. What I say, Twitter.
No,
X.
you're
I gotta
good.
get. I still getting used to it.
No, me too.
Um, yeah, Threads now, which is kind
Oh
of feels
yeah,
like
that's
the check.
true.
I call it the check soda of Twitter.
Yeah.
That's what it feels
The
like.
RC Cola, right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it feels like. The
Right.
Sam's Club of Twitter right now. But whatever. I kind of like that there's not a lot of hashtags and stuff on there. It's kind of
Sure.
interesting.
Yeah, it's
I don't know
different.
really what drives people, but it's you have to be in their face, and that's where it is. So I feel like no matter what you're in, you hit the
Mm.
like you need. That's where you have to be because it's just the same way as 50 years ago. You put on the billboard. Yeah, people were driving down the road. They look at the billboard and they see it, right? The passenger. Now that passenger, when they're riding in the car, what are they doing? They're looking at their phone. They're not looking out there at the billboard, right? They're not looking at the bus stop sign, the realtor on the bus stop. They're not looking at that. They're looking on the phone. So anybody that's not, it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter anything. You need to be on freaking line,
Mm.
and that's where you need to get sold. So I think, I watch your stuff. I think it's good. I think it's better to be authentic and not be too curated. And I think after a
Mm.
while, you throw every once in a while you throw one in
Mm.
that's like maybe a little salesy, but like as soon as somebody gets salesy with me, I'm out. So why would it be any different when the shoe's on the other foot?
True. Yeah,
You know what
that's
I
so
mean?
true. Yeah, I
That's
believe that.
me. I'm
Fair.
not going to go I don't go buy a Nike sneaker because they spammed my email or
Mm.
they put the ad up on my Instagram, right? I bought the Nike sneaker because it looked awesome on my fantasy wide receiver ones feet that I'm following this year on Instagram, right?
Well, right.
I think those are dope shoes that he's wearing. I want a pair,
Uh,
you
yeah.
know.
Oh yeah,
Um,
man.
and that's I think where it comes from. So on that note,
Yeah.
when you guys are doing when you're trying to recruit and these kinds of things, what are you when you're going online and you're recruiting, like without sales pitching, what do you feel like is the best converter of leads for you on social media? And that, like, what does its best job for you? Do you get leads from social media?
Yeah, I get more BD leads, business
Okay.
development leads,
Hmm.
than I do for recruiting. I've actually got a ton of recruiting partnerships. Um, in our industry, we have what's called a split fee agreement. Basically, like,
Okay.
like, hey, if I have the buyers of the house and you have all the houses, why don't we just work together and cut the fee in half? So like
Okay.
I have all the jobs, they have the skill set to find candidates. Maybe they have some candidates, and I think just getting your word out there and showing that you really know your stuff, rather than just you read a couple scripts and now you can regurgitate that. I think that helps a lot. Yeah, business development leads have been really big off of LinkedIn and networking too. Um, people think networking is dead, man. It's very much alive. I think social media has actually created a unique opportunity for people who actually want to get out there, because it's
Yeah.
turned almost everybody into an introvert. You think you have a one-on-one connection with somebody on an Instagram page that you follow? Yeah, no, you don't. It's a false sense of reality. I think that it's a good way to get your name out there, right? Good way to get the
Hmm.
conversation started. Good way to get brand recognition. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with shaking somebody's hand. Like you can't we were just talking about ghosting. You can't not take my call when I'm standing right in front of you, and I'm like, "Hey, Aaron, how you doing, man? It's been a while since I've seen you." You,
100%.
um, but that's another topic for another discussion. But yeah, business development has been a big part of social media, and then recruiters to help us find candidates has been really good with social media. A lot of interactions. I
Okay.
I think I was talking to you about it, maybe even at another event a month ago.
Yep.
Um, I make a goofy, 30-second video for LinkedIn with some captions, something about, coming up and recruiting, or, some challenge we're coming right now. And 3,000 people will look at that. You got to think, like, can you make
That's
3,000
awesome.
calls in a day? Like, no, you can't, like, and what
Nope.
would you have to pay in order to get 3,000 people in a room so you could share your message?
The free reach is ridiculous,
It's
man. And
free.
it's
It's
gold. It's
freaking
free.
free, man. Come on. What are you
Yep.
waiting for?
Yep.
You're
I
already
met,
telling yourself this stuff. You might as well stick a camera in your face and film a goofy video real quick. Like, who you hurt?
but that's the other thing too. If it's 20 people,
Uh,
that's 20 people. How
that's
long would it take you to
influence.
go meet? How long would it go and take you to meet 20 people walking down the street? Right? It take
Yeah.
you, and how many times have to call 20 people and actually talk to 20 people and have them listen
Mm,
to you? That would take you all day,
yeah.
right? Like you can call 20 people real quick, but nobody's going to answer the phone.
That's
And
so
then,
true.
but it's like, and think about this: people get so. I mean, and I got we'll wrap it up. But the last thing, like I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and this touches on what you just said. And if you got people get so hung up on a following, right? And they're like, well, I don't have any following. What is nobody's going to see it? Blah blah blah. Well, if one person sees it, that's one person that wouldn't have seen it otherwise, right? And
Mm,
if we get so construed, you think you need 1 million followers to look like you're legit on social media. It's like, no, like, dude, if you have 500 followers, are you kidding me? That's incredible. Like, could you imagine for a
mm,
second? We might have even had this conversation already. Could you imagine for a second that those 500 people are real people and they're in a room to listen to you talk? Okay, 500 people? That's ridiculous.
That's a lot of people, dude.
That's
Yeah.
500 people in a room. You're going, wow, what an amazing turnout.
Uh,
All right, a million, like that's freaking Taylor Swift coming and selling out Raymond James 3 nights. Okay, like that's what
yeah.
we're talking about. Like
Right.
that's not realistic. Like 500
Yeah.
people is like a joke. You're going, holy shit. You
Mm.
know that the hearing aid event yesterday. What we have, 50 people,
Yeah.
like,
Hey.
and that was a full room of people. You're going, what an amazing turnout for this
Mm.
event, right?
Right.
So I don't know where people get it lost. Like these are real, 100 real people that follow you. 100. That's awesome, right? And if you get 500 views or 50 views, whatever it is, that's people listening. Like that's like I would never use it is irreplaceable and what's the word, unreplicable, is that the
Mm.
word, on
Yeah.
this in real life, in a face-to-face real
Yeah.
human interaction. You can't replicate it, and that's
How
why
many
it's so
people?
powerful.
How many people do you need to sell anyways? It'll, I only need one.
Exactly,
Like,
it only takes one, man.
yeah. People
It
say
only
I have
takes
to
one.
wait till I'm an influencer. It's like, dude, if you have one follower, you have influence. Like,
Exactly.
that's enough. Oh, I love that. Heck
100%,
yeah, man.
man.
That fires me up. Yes,
But it's
sir.
just a ton of people. I'm like, shit, if 80 people are listening to me, who the hell are these 80 people?
That's
Why are
it.
they, you know what I mean? That's
I
incredible.
don't care if you like it or not, man. If you're watching, that's all that matters to me, man. You can.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Go
absolutely.
hate it and tell your friends that they should watch me and how much you hate it.
Yeah, go
Right?
talk about
How,
it with all your friends
how
about how
awful it
bad it
is and
is. Yeah,
how
right.
they should watch it too.
Yeah,
Please.
right. Oh, that's awesome. I love that, man. That's killer.
Oh man. So okay, so I don't want to keep you too much longer, Justin. It's been
Oh, you're
awesome
good.
learning about your journey.
Yeah, heck
I want
yeah.
to do
Thank
some
you.
quick fun, like quick answer questions here.
Okay,
You see this a lot, but it's a little cliche, but I like to do it.
I
Okay.
got you.
All right. So we're just gonna fire them off as I come. I'm thinking these off the top of my head too.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Heck yeah.
All right. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
Breakfast all day. I could eat it
Breakfast.
any day of the week, anytime, any place, anywhere.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Night or day?
Well, my day looks like people's nights. It's 5 a.m. So I'm an early bird, man. I'm an early bird for sure.
Okay. Okay. What time you go to bed?
About 9:30.
Shit, you're a better man than me.
I
Um,
try. I try to do as best I can, and it's rough some nights. Some nights are a little later, but ever since my son started sleeping on his own, as soon as I can, man, his lights out. I'm done for the day.
that is it. I love it. I love
Oh
it.
yes,
Okay.
sir.
Water or Gatorade?
Water, water,
Okay.
water. I can't drink my calories, bro. I'm a former fat kid, dude. Ain't
Oh,
happening.
that's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no way,
former
bro.
fat kid.
Bro,
I'm
I
a
used
fat
to
kid
get.
at heart. It's true.
There you go. Two number ones at McDonald's. That was my thing. Two Big Mac meals, large, bro. Big large diet like Coke.
Uh-huh.
Suck those things down. But now I can't do that no more. Got my
Okay. Well,
emotional support water bottle handy.
that answers my next question. It was going to be grilled or fried.
Ooh, grilled. Well, I mean,
Grilled.
I prefer fried.
Okay. Yeah. I think we all
Definitely.
do.
I like grilled though too. At the end of the day, right now, I'm all about my grilled stuff. I do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I let myself loose a little bit, and get to
Okay.
eat a little bit more. So now you said that. Now it's all I can think about.
Fried
I
chicken.
might head down to Yoder's and get myself some fried chicken tonight. I might have
Some
to.
Popeyes.
Oh, there you go.
Oh man, that's my vice. But okay, this one's close to my heart, Justin. Okay,
Okay.
pick wisely now. But I'm not gonna hate you either way. Gators or Seminoles?
Ooh, I think Gators.
Ah, that
Only
pains me. I
because
liked you too for a minute.
only because my pediatrician is really advocating for my son to be a Gator. Looks like he's going to be on track to be somewhere between like 6.5 to 7 feet tall, and if
Oh
he's
wow,
anything like
really?
me, he's probably going to be like a linebacker. You know, so we'll see. But if I had to, gun to the head, I'm going with the Gators.
Oh
Love it or hate it.
man,
No.
that hurts. That hurts. Okay, okay. Marlins or Rays?
Oh, Rays all day, man.
That's
Oh,
what I like
Rays,
to
baby.
hear.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes. All right, Justin. That's all I got for you, man. I really appreciate your time. It's been amazing talking to you, and hopefully we can have you on again one day. You know, have another great conversation.
Heck yeah, Aaron. No,
Any,
thank you.
you want to plug yourself?
Um, you know, Titan's going to be doing some big things, man. So definitely like, follow our page. You know, we got a lot of stuff going on every day here. It seems like there's a new development within our organization, whether it's a new team member, a new office space, or a new piece of technology. We're always doing things. So definitely keep an eye out on us. Thank you so much, Aaron. It's been super cool to get on here with
Absolutely.
you. Definitely looking forward to maybe a few months down the line, maybe a year, so you know you can check in, see where we've come from and
Love
where
it.
we are then. Yes, sir.
Okay. And where can people find you? What's the handle on social media?
So you can find us at Titan Placement on all platforms, and then I am at Torilla. It's Toarilla on Instagram. That's my personal Instagram. And then heck, my cell phone number is 941-539-5641. If you need anything, let me know.
That's awesome, Justin. Well, man, I really appreciate you, and hope you have a great Labor Day weekend.
You
And
too,
I'll
man.
talk to you soon, bud.
Sounds good, boss man. Have a great day.
Awesome.
Thanks again.
Peace.
Bye bye.